Hey, welcome to Fixing It Blind. Today we have a Craftsman pressure washer. It is a 550. I believe it's 5.5 horse basically. What we got going on is it won't run. Customer had it 1 year, let it sit over winter, had the fuel in it, and it varnished up the carburetor. So we're gonna go ahead and start taking this apart. First thing we want to do is we want to take the air cleaner off. There's this little tab here. You push down or pull up and it pops off, or just falls on the ground like that. Let's take the air filter out. Remember, Briggs & Stratton logo goes on the outside. Okay, and that's a good way to remember. Set that aside. You don't want to get that wet or in the dirt, because if you get it in the dirt, it's an oiled filter, and that will cause it to pick up all that dirt, and that can go in the engine, shorten the life of it. The other thing is I already took these two screws out down here just because they're a little bit of a pain to do while on camera. They like to drop. But you've got one here and one over here. And then you have these two here. And we got to take these out. This one. And they're 8 mil. The other one I believe is a 7 mil. All right, and then the other one's on the outside of the air filter box. All right, so then we pull this out. There is a vent hose, a breather valve, or a breather tube up here that goes in there. You got to make sure that gets put back on. And then right here, there's 2 wires. Now, it doesn't matter which way they go on, as long as one goes on one tab and one goes on the other. That's for the kill switch, to turn the engine on and off. So we'll set that aside. And then we'll take a look in here real quick. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pull the carb out. Basically, this is just, the only thing that holds it on is pressure from that outside cover. So we're gonna go ahead and pull it out, and you just kind of wiggle it a little bit, not severely. Okay, pull it out a little bit, and then we can take the fuel line off. All right, I had to grab some pliers here. We're gonna go ahead and pull this fuel line off. Basically, there's just a little spring clamp here. And you squeeze it, pull it up. And we're gonna go ahead and work the fuel line off without ripping it. This one just happens to be really on there. Oh, come on. All right, there we go. And then to get the carburetor off, we're simply going to twist it and pull it off this shaft, or this rod. And that's your throttle linkage for the governor. Now you notice these carburetors are plastic, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and pull the carb apart. And they got a couple of 8 mil bolts, or actually, sorry, they're not 8 mil. All right, now that we got the right socket, it's a 6 mil. They use 6 millimeter bolts to hold this plastic bowl on. So we're gonna go ahead and just pull that off. And you notice these threads on these bolts, you can tell the ones that go into plastic are a lot more coarse. So If you get them mixed up, it's not a big deal. Coarse runs go into plastic. The fine thread go into metal brackets. So we got the screws out. Now we got to take a screwdriver and kind of get in here and just kind of pry up just a little bit just to get that O-ring to break loose. They can be a little bit of a pain to get started. Once they pop, they just kind of pop right off. There we go. All right, so we wiggle it, get all the gas all over our hands, so that's always a good thing. You can see in there, there's some little bit of debris in there. It's not super bad, but it's kind of like a gel consistency. So we're gonna set the bowl off to the side here after we wipe it out. We're gonna wipe it out, and we'll hit it with some cleaner here in a little bit, but set that off to the side. And then what we gotta do is, this is your jet, that little hole there, it gets clogged. We're gonna pop this whole plastic piece out of the middle and get it cleaned. Now typically I soak these in an ultrasonic cleaner, but what I found is it doesn't get to the parts that I need to clean on these. So let me go find a small screwdriver and then I will be back. All right, so I got a small screwdriver, and basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna get it right underneath here, okay? But you wanna go just on the black, you don't wanna cover up the white, and we're just gonna twist it a little bit, nice and slow. You'll see she pops up. Okay, and this is what we're after, okay? Now, some points where it clogs are right here, okay? You got that causes issues for you. You've got this that also causes issues. And then in between here, there's another spot that's got a little narrow piece that causes issues. And then of course you got your main fuel inlet, which is right there. So we gotta go through and we gotta make sure that we can get fluid to spray through all of that. So I'm gonna grab some brake cleaner and then I'll be right back. All right, so we got a little drill bit here, and basically we need to clean this out. This is where the fuel goes into the carburetor. Okay, so now we got it opened up. We're gonna go ahead and grab some carburetor cleaner, and we're gonna first try spraying through it. Make sure we got it opened up. And you see we got some fluid coming out, so that's a good sign. It means we got a passage open. All right, so now we want to go backwards because we want to blow the junk out of there. So we're going to put the straw here, and we're going to cover up this middle hole. Okay, we want to see that come out of the top there. See, all right, and then we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to put it in the middle hole and cover up the outside hole. Let's see how we can do this here. All right. Okay, so we got flow coming out, so we're good. Just give that a quick rinse, and we're good. So we're gonna go ahead and set this up here so we don't lose it. And grab our carburetor bowl, give that just a quick rinse to get any loose debris out. Okay, we'll set this up here as well. Now, as far as the carburetor goes, okay, we want to hose this out a little bit, okay, just to get the loose debris out. You know, nothing severe. And right in here. Now, some of these don't do anything. On some of the carburetors, I don't know why, but some of them aren't actually hooked up to a passage, and other ones are. Like that one is. All right, we want to go ahead and blow those out. If it just comes straight out at you, you know, don't pay too much attention to it because it's probably just sealed. So we take this, we put it in here, and then we go ahead and we push her back down. Okay, make sure it's good in there, nice and solid. Should be roughly flush. Make sure this is pushed down far enough. It should be just about flush. It should the white part should be just a hair above the black. And that's just make sure that it's in there all the way. So we'll go ahead, take our bowl, and then put our bowl. So you got holes here which aren't really used. And then you have these holes here. Okay, so you want to go ahead and line those up and push her down. Make sure it squishes down all the way. Then we got to grab our screws. Okay, so we grab our screws and get those in there and get those started. Now you got to remember when you're tightening this, that these are just, it's a plastic carburetor, okay? You don't want to over tighten it. All right, so I'm only using 1/4-inch ratchets. I mean, this is small stuff. All right, get her all cinched down and you'll feel it. It'll stop. Once it stops, you're done. Okay, so now we got to install this. All right, so first thing we want to do is we want to get this back in. Now, this raised part is where it goes. So it goes in that hole, you line it up, you put it sideways, get it in there, turn it straight up and down. And then that lets us go ahead and put the fuel on. Okay. All right. We'll grab our pliers here, get this fuel clamp back on. So one of the biggest things when working on this stuff is you don't want to do, put the fuel line on and then do the clamp later because you'll forget. So now there is a round, stub of a pipe sticking out in the back there. Okay. And that is where this carburetor slides on. All right, so we get it in there, slide it on. And you see this little white part that sticks out here. It goes in the slot, and it should be flush or close to it. Once you put the screws in, it'll pull it in nice and tight. So we want to make sure, just go ahead and operate the choke or the throttle blade here just to make sure it works. All right, and now we're ready to go ahead and put the back part of the cover on. So we put it so that this part here faces up, okay? And the switch will be over the wires. So we're gonna go ahead, connect the wires to the switch. Like I said before, it does not matter which one it goes to. I mean, there is a proper way, but it realistically doesn't matter. And this switch just goes to ground. It grounds out the coil to shut the engine off. All right, and then we take this hose here and we put it on the back side. Sorry, it's hard to show you, but you got to put it on the back side there, push it on a little ways, and then you can line this up. There's a little nub here that goes in this hole, and then one on the other side over here, right back here. Okay, so then we're gonna grab those screws, and we're gonna go ahead and put those on. And those ones are 8 millimeters. So I like to get the outside one on first. Oops, sorry. I like to get the outside one on first, because that's the easy one. And that'll stop this from wobbling around while you're trying to get that other one in. Okay. And then I put the bolt in the socket. I kind of hold it and guide it in there. And there we go. Now this cover is what's actually holding the carburetor onto the engine. because it's just a pressure fit. It's not bolted in. It's not anything like that. All right, so we got the other 2 screws here, and those are the ones that go down in here. So first one was right here. It's very difficult to see because the lighting's bad, but you'll notice that these ones here are a coarser thread than the other ones. The other ones are fine thread, they go into metal. These are coarse thread, they go into the plastic on the carburetor. So then the other hole is right here below the primer. And this is the one that usually gives me trouble. Of course, this time it goes in nice. We just go ahead, tighten those down. Okay. All right, now we can go ahead and place our air filter back on. So we put it Briggs & Stratton side up, or out, or whatever you want to call it. And then these tabs go into the bottom here, and it simply just comes up, snaps into place. And that gives you access to your primer still. All right, so I'm gonna put some gas in this. We're gonna fire it up, see if she works. All right, so we got gas in it. Now we just gotta turn it on. Hit the primer a couple times, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, 100 times, how many you want. And then go ahead and pull. Just make sure that she runs. And it shuts off when you turn the switch off. That means that we hooked it up right. Well, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.